Hello, friends. Continuing our series on group discussion and debates, especially when given a contemporary and controversial topic, we will today give you the topic of: Is Pakistan our best friend or our worst enemy? Now, when given such a topic, always remember that during the 2 to 3 minutes which are given to prepare, you must use the technique of GO.BA.CH.AC.LE to write down all the relevant points only in big letter, capital letters, in a big format, so that later on during the GD or the debate you could refer to it. Now, GO.BA.CH.AC.LE means good points, bad points, changes, action, and learning. So during the 3 minutes, you want to quickly think of good points. Now, what are the good points in favor of Pakistan? History, then culture, then geographical synergies, then economic synergies, and a chance for peace. So you want to quickly write down all of these points and then think of converting sentences from these points. Now, similarly, for bad points, you want to think nefarious designs to embarrass India at global forums like United Nations, cross-border terrorism, state-sponsored activities against India, then a situation of generally opposing India at most global forums, and number fifth, instigating controversial sentiments within India. So again, you have listed a few points for which you could speak against Pakistan or in favor of Pakistan, and then changes. In changes, you may want to talk about a future forward-looking action as to what could be done to make things better. So you may want to talk about a settlement of Kashmir issue, a settlement of border dispute, an atmosphere of trust, some confidence building measures, and open dialogue, for which in the end you may want to talk about actions. For example, stop interfering in India's internal affairs, stop cross-border terrorism, and an open attitude of both side leaderships to talk. So this is a brief outlook, and now let us do a small simulation as always of a real life debate or a group discussion. So if you are an initiator, how do you start? My respected friends, I welcome you all to this group discussion on the topic: Is Pakistan India's best friend or worst enemy? Now, this is an extremely pertinent topic in today's socio-economic political context, as the value of relationships with neighbors has been given great prominence, and the general geopolitical situation in the globe after Russian attack on Ukraine is making it very important for nations to monitor their relationships very carefully. Now, I am sure all my friends would have very passionate views. However, since time is limited, may I propose that we could first discuss 2 or 3 good points, then 2 or 3 bad points, and finally talk about things we could change. So, may I invite one of my friends to start the views by talking about some good points related to Pakistan? This is how an initiator introduces the topic to all the members. Now, strong supporter, somebody who wants to talk in favor of Pakistan, would go as follows. My friends, I want to say 5 points that why Pakistan is our best friend. Number 1, history. At one stage, both the countries were same, so history demands that we should again have a situation where we are at least peacefully coexisting. Number 2, geography. The two nations share a very long border, over 3,000 kilometers, and it's extremely vital that if the two live peacefully, then the border could be used synergistically for cross-border trade and peaceful and happy living of people in the border areas. Number 3, culture. At the end of the day, lot of culture between Pakistan and India is common, and the common man, the ordinary citizen on both sides, would always want happy relationships where we could enjoy their plays, they could enjoy our movies, and above all, the game of cricket. Then, I would also like to talk about the economic synergy. Since India and Pakistan are so closely geopolitically located, it's an opportunity for both the nations whereby goods produced at one country could be consumed at very low cost in the other country and vice versa. An effective rail transport connectivity or sea route connectivity between Mumbai and Karachi could really work miracles for both the countries. And finally, the most important reason why we should have friendship with Pakistan is peace. At the end of the day, any kind of activity which is related to violence or military or terrorism is going to hurt and damage both the nations. So peace is something which has no substitute, and therefore I sincerely believe we should make efforts to make great peace with Pakistan. This was the person who was supporting and propagating for good relationship with Pakistan. Now let's say there is another member who's opposing. So how does a strong opposer enter? My worthy colleague, you have made some good points and I respect your thought process. However, while in Rome, you have to do as Romans do, and therefore with Pakistan, it's the case of once bitten, twice shy, or may I say 5 times bitten, so maybe 500 times shy. Time and again, India has offered various kind of peace initiatives, but only to be most regrettably backstabbed. There are 5 reasons I think Pakistan is our worst enemy. Number 1, its ulterior motives of trying to split India. In the past, the Pakistan premier said they want to give India a death by 1,000 cuts. Even today, this agenda of hatred drives the country, and therefore we have to be very cautious. Number 2, cross-border terrorism. The entire world knows that Pakistan is having terrorist camps in POK and various other regions, which then instigate various problems within India. How can we condone the loss of innocent lives and that of our military brethren? Number 3, embarrassment at various global forums, especially United Nations. Time and again, Pakistan has taken various initiatives which are pretty hideous and with the singular motive of trying to just let India down. Then, number 4, encroachment on India's borderation. So, till the issue of Kashmir, where Pakistan has absorbed and taken occupation of our POK, is settled, how can we expect any kind of peaceful resolution? And number 5, Pakistan's internal order. The very complicated political orientation where some power is lying with the political government, but the rest with the army, leads to a situation where Pakistan is a natural ally of countries which aren't very close to India. Whether it's China, North Korea, India really has to be extremely cautious when it takes the next step towards Pakistan. This was the voice of the opposer. But then a harmonizer could come and he or she could focus on the changes. What must change? And then probably link them with action. So here's the harmonizer. My worthy colleagues, both of you have made very good points, and I sincerely believe that there is a deep amount of substance in this very paradoxical conundrum which exists between India and Pakistan. And if I were to submit my thoughts, the reality of today is that there is very weak trust. There is serious mistrust, and in fact, the strong perception that both countries are aiming for ill will for each other. But the reality is also that by economic logic, geopolitical logic, it would be advisable for the two nations to be friendly to each other. Therefore, may I propose 3 important changes. Number 1, Pakistan must adopt a policy of zero interference in India's issues. Number 2, Pakistani army and the extra state elements must also make a resolve to dismantle the terrorist camps. And number 3, Pakistan should engage in bilateral dialogue with India and not try to do these small shenanigans to embarrass India or create tricky situations at United Nations. I think if these 3 things happen, the two nations could move forward for a prosperous and a peaceful future. So these are my thoughts, my friends. And then finally, someone could talk about action to be done. And for action, we could go as follows. My dear friends, so I think, may I propose that there are 3 things which could be done. Number 1, some sort of committee could be formed between political leaders from both sides, which could start doing some confidence building measures by which the talks could resume. Number 2, the army at both the sides could enter into a truce whereby at least the various frictions which are happening or wars could be stopped. And number 3, both the nations should make a list of contentious agenda and start the dialogue so that they can also have probability to discuss trade, economics, and various alliance facets. With these, I think the two nations could move forward. So now, my dear friends, comes the last topic of summarizing when GD is about to end. Now, if you haven't spoken till now, then you enter as a summarizer. And as a summarizer, please remember, you are not supposed to give your view, but you have to give a factual narrative of what transpired. So a summarizer could go as follows. My worthy colleagues, please allow me to summarize. We have had a very enchanting and lively group discussion today, and different candidates came up with different views. Unfortunately, there was no consensus because group was divided. Some of us felt that Pakistan is a great friend, but some felt that it's a very dangerous enemy. In general, Those who said that Pakistan is a friend and we should work on friendship even more spoke about history, culture, geographic and economic synergies, and the value of peace. On the other hand, those who were opposing spoke strongly about terrorism issue, the distrust on army, the complicated Pakistan domestic situation, and an ulterior motive to embarrass India in global forums, and the most important issue of a divisive legacy. However, all in all, most members felt that going forward, we could work on making better relationships by taking three steps. Number one, making a confidence building measure through a political dialogue, starting some form of economic dialogue, and a army related truce whereby any kind of crawler which is happening on the border region could be stopped. So, with those words, we summarize this group discussion. Thank you. So, my dear viewers, please follow the GO.BA.CH.AC.LE technique to quickly make up points, convert points to lines and lines to paragraph, and you will surely be successful at debates and group discussion. This is Gagan Singh signing off for the day, but please don't forget to subscribe our channel. Please press the like button, and if you are preparing for your dream interview, corporate career growth, join my program, Future Skills to Boost Employability. Bye-bye.